Hi, everybody. I'm about to share with you a thrift score. Here's the first one. I went to a wonderful thrift store called Thrift City in Aberdeen, Washington yesterday, and this is one of the things I found. This is a what many would call a mid-century necklace. It's probably from the early 1960s. It's got glass and plastic beads. I'll show you. The glass beads are the ones that sound like this. I don't know if you can hear that, but let's see. If you can, that's what the sound of glass striking glass in beads anyway. These are plastic beads. Notice the difference in sound? They're all great. I like them. Some people like plastic beads a lot less than glass beads and look at plastic beads as garbage or just, junky beads or whatever. But I know somebody who did a major museum exhibit using plastic pony beads. So why not? I like all these, especially though the what they call the crumb beads. They have little tiny shards of glass, and when they make the bead, first they make the blue part, the core of the bead, on a lampwork style. There's lampworking demonstrations of beads, I'm sure, all over YouTube. Then they take the still molten blue bead and they just roll it in little glass crumbs. And the glass crumbs are just hot enough, and the blue glass is just hot enough for it to melt together to adhere forever. I mean, once, if you really try, you could probably pop one of these off of there, but I don't recommend it. Another lampwork glass bead, and look how the color swirl is going all the way through it. That means they are taking two colors of glass and lampworking, around the rod, lampworking them together at the same time. This bead has the same type of technique with the two colors of glass embedded within each other, or the one color glass embedded in the other. And then they flatten it and they give it a little twist on each side. So these are just really fun mid-century beads. And just so you know, it's hard to read. Let's see, just barely readable. It's stamped Japan. This was actually considered cheap costume jewelry. And it's still cheap costume jewelry. This is not real gold. These are, electroplated whatevers. But they put a lot of work into this, and I would be really surprised if you'd find a necklace like this available at, Costco or Target or whatever nowadays. These are really nice, high quality glass beads in here mixed in. So just another fun find in my eyes versus what I'm looking at on the monitor here as I do this video. This is a lot more purple than what I see. So we'll find out how much it is the color is distorted when I look at the video when I'm done making it. Just so you know, this is partially why it's a little difficult. You have to be really confident when you buy beads online because your naked eye is going to look at one thing. The Even the best camera is going to photograph it, and then they have to put it on their computer, and then you're looking at it on the internet on your computer. So there's always color translation going on. Uh, well, I should say that's a nice word for color distortion. In other words, this to me in real life right now looks a lot more purple than it does on the screen. So it's something to be aware of. A good seller will describe it as best they can. It will describe the color thoroughly on their listing when they're selling beads. So that's the first necklace. This is going to be a relatively short video. I like to talk, but not that much. Another necklace from the same thrift store, and I believe it also says Japan. And oh wait, no, it doesn't say anything. Hello. So who knows where it's from? It's from the thrift store. That's where it came from. And these are plastic beads. Let's listen again. Yep, that's plastic. They look to me like, well, just textured plastic, or, not textured physically, but color-wise textured, kind of marbled plastic. And some would probably call these Bakelite. I'm not sure they are. I think they might be a later version of plastic. But hey, I like puke green. What can I say? Now I'm saving the best for last. I always do that. I used to do that as a kid with dessert or whatever. I still do that. So I'm finally, the third one I found, I think is the most spectacular example of necklace making design from, again, mid-century. It might be missing a bigger bead on the end. On these others, they both have several small beads and then a larger bead on the end. If I wanted to improve it, I guess, or if I wanted to lengthen it, I could just take a bead from my stash and add beads to this. That's something you can do when it's not a museum piece, right? But what I love about this, and by the way, got to give credit to the creative people in Japan who made this, the creative companies who made tons, literally tons of costume jewelry in the 1950s and beyond, in the 60s and so on. This is all glass, and hear that? That's glass. And it's a two-strand necklace. Let's look at the underneath part. What they did was they took all these tooth beads, I guess I'll just call them tooth or claw beads. They put them together on little pieces of wire, made a loop at each end, and then strung alternately one of these beads, then strung through the loop, one of these beads, and strung through the loop the whole way down. This took a long time to make. This wasn't just quickie whatever stuff, to in my opinion anyway. This is something really cool, and it's funny how the white color is just so dainty, and you got to picture somebody in about 1962 wearing little white gloves and looking very proper and stuff. And then they have these like projectile tooth and claw beads. It's kind of wild. So I like that kind of contrast. And just look how sinuous it is. I love the sinuousness of it. So what can I say? They are, and again, they are articulated. Oh, I just found one is broken. So if I wanted to be, what is it, a connoisseur curator of it, I could try to find one of these beads. People sell vintage beads all the time on Etsy and eBay, so it's probably obtainable. It would be a matter of matching the color exactly. And I would have to replace this little link with the metal link with the two beads on it, make a piece of wire, put the loops on the ends and so on. But because I'm just wearing it for myself, I will probably just leave it as is. It's not hugely noticeable. And in a way, I kind of don't want to mess with the originality over the originality of it. It's again, it's not a museum piece. It's not as if I have to carefully curate it and make sure the provenance matches up. And like in cars, they call that numbers matching when the car is made in a certain factory, the numbers on the engine and the transmission and whatever else will match. Well, it's so if and car collectors are hardcore about this numbers matching thing. If it's if all the numbers match, if everything is fully original from the day it was born, so to speak, it's way more valuable. This, I got all these, I spent a little less than $10 for all three of these items. It's not a museum thing. I'm just gonna enjoy them. So I'm not gonna, I could mess with it or not. That's my choice, basically, because it's not an heirloom piece, with cultural, it has some cultural significance, I think. But in terms of collectability, it's not like a life or death thing. So yeah, I have the choice of doing that or not. That's up to me. So yay. Again, oh, you gotta feel these beads, people. They're so fun. They poke you this way and they go smooth that way. So on that happy note, I will leave it at that. And here's hoping that you have a fun time looking for beads at thrift stores and finding beads and necklaces at thrift stores and especially wearing them. I got to give a shout out to this one lady who works, I'm going to have to ask her name and ask her if she wants me to share her name with you. But she works at a packing shipping place, and every time I go in there, she has a cool vintage necklace on. And they're kind of like these. She's into the non-precious metal, it can be plastic, that's fine kind of thing. And she's a jolly person. So yeah, find your cool vintage jewelry, wear your cool vintage jewelry. There's probably somebody out there that wants to see it as well. So off I go into the wilds of Western Washington thrift stores for more fun beads and jewelry, of course. Thanks for being with me, and I hope you'll hit the like and share button. Like button, hit the share, consider following me. It helps build my channel. And thanks again. Bye.